big man in a suit of armor. Take that off. What are you?
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll contain plot synopsis and character bios for the issue we're about to go through. So we are continuing our run here of the second run of Bob Layton and David Michelinie's Iron Man. So Iron Man 219 from 1987, featuring the Ghost. Look at that beautiful cover by Bob Layton. Bob Layton is very famous for making these little, like, there's shine to the armor, and so you can see him spotting it in just these different areas here. So all right, so we're in California and Tony Stark is going for a run. Look at the short shorts. Man, oh man, does he look super muscular here. So, and these ladies are lusting over Tony here, and I think he's got the music down here perhaps, or something, pedometer perhaps, going beep beep. So, and then the title of our story is Ghost Story. Okay, so that is listening notes that are being transcribed here. So he said he doesn't need a workout because of what he gets to as Iron Man, but he enjoys going for a run. And then, of course, he says it's a great time to listen to notes transcribed by my secretary. And here we got just a little bit of screen tones right underneath his nose. Anyway, this is all kind of filler, just going through just some personnel stuff and just stuff anyway. And it says, and please turn over. So as he's running, he's got this little thing, and the guy's going, that's the smallest Walkman I've ever seen. Ha! If only they knew. So it's amazing, the stuff in 1987, if they only knew. So all right, so those either those ladies or another two ladies come by and say, yo, Sly, meaning Sylvester Stallone, you look a little lost. How about a lift, say maybe to Chasen's or Acapulco, my place? And she goes, I appreciate the offer, ladies. Maybe another time, but right now, my ride is here. And as he gets the Stark helicopter, and we already see that he was prepared for it. So Rhodey picks him up, and off they go. And he salutes the ladies here. So he says, Rhodey, you really should get out there and jog. It's great exercise, and he just uses the health benefits of it and how healthy his heart is according to the telemetrics. So he's going to take a shower because there was a shower in the helicopter. Nice to be rich. So Rhodey gave away his shares of Stark. Says he's a pilot and a mechanic and was never really comfortable being a mechanic. Oh, I'm sorry, businessman. And then he makes mention that the way he has lost this company, it seems kind of risky for him to keep all that stock, and asks him if he'd hate to see him to lose everything, and he has again. So all right. So it looks like Tony's about to buy another company here. And then Rhodey tells him, you better get up here, Chief. Looks like your golden opportunity is about to go up in smoke. And he's like, what the? And so there is a fire that is burning. And then this is Accutech, who Tony Stark was going to buy. So he says, pull us behind those hills. I have to get dressed fast. Back then, he carried the armor in a suitcase. So, funny. He can basically create a iPod, but he still has to lug that thing. So this firefighter says that they can't contain the fire anymore, and uh, they're gonna have to do a total evacuation. But here comes Iron Man, and so he's gonna try to put the fire out. Or he's gonna try to put the fire out, but before that, he's gonna try to contain it. He's gonna use the repulsors, basically, to kind of keep the fire stationary. And then he remembers seeing an airfield, so he's gonna go grab a tanker with flame retardant. So, and then he just says, "Send this bill to Stark Enterprises." Everyone's like, "Wait a minute!" Again, love the screen tones here. So he gets the truck here, and he is going to open it up so that it disperses and put out most of the fire. So, all right, he says his job is over, so now he's gonna go to Accutech. The guy tells him, "Thank you for having Iron Man assist. Look at the, again, screen tones here," and then they cut some screen tones, probably using white media to give that illusion of a shine. So Tony's gonna go talk with the board. So they gave Tony the um, company literature, and Tony says he's very interested in the beta particle generator that they are developing. He says that they're very proud of that. Microscopic beta particles pass through space and the Earth every second of the day. If those particles could be slowed in their cosmic passage every minute, an enormous amount of energy could be generated more cheaply than solar and more safely than nuclear. This prototype generator is nearly complete, but they've had problems designing a suitable transfer link. Even then, the device wouldn't be cost efficient enough for commercial manufacture at this time, but it might have impressed investors enough to keep them from bankruptcy. As it is, selling to selling to Stark is the only hope for them or that generator. So here's just kind of how that particle works. So Stark says, "I'm surprised there weren't other bids," and the guy says, "Actually, there was one from Rocks and Oil, but the board decided that their history was one of questionable ethicality, and other investors were scared off by the run of bad luck they've been having, like that fire." And off panel here, "It wasn't luck, Gilbert. It was the ghost." And Stark goes, "Huh?" And this guy here says, "Abraham." And Tony says, "Surely, Mr. Zimmer, you're not referring to the old hacker's tale about the electronic boogeyman who destroys company for fun and profit." And he says, "I saw him once. He walked through my office, and I mean through it, through the walls." And so the guy goes, "Ahem. I believe we've had enough discussion today. Thank you. Shall we adjourn?" So as the two walk by, he says, "Don't mind Abraham. He lost a major file that led directly to his business going under, and he blames the ghost on everything. But they hired him because of his experience." But then he says, "For low security projects, of course." So, so Tony says, "Then you consider him reliable as well as stable?" asks. And the guy says, "Let's just say I wouldn't worry about Abe Zimmer, Mr. Stark. He turns 65 next year, and we'll be retiring him." So, and there was a thing that I didn't cover, but he was hoping for. He was gonna check out the vending machine. He was hoping for another type of candy, but he ended up with a Milky Way. So that's what you see here. A Milky Way. Tony says he'll meet with his legal advisors and they'll finalize the transaction by 2:30. And he says, "We'll see you then." And now they're going to the new Stark Enterprises headquarters. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. I know that comic books, but sometimes these kind of uninspiring architectural kind of like panels like this, I don't know. I think in modern, and I know that it's most likely because of Photoshop, but I think a small panel would have been suffice. Or doing it from an angle. Just you wouldn't need such a big panel. Like if anything, um, I I don't know. I would have reworked it. 'Cause just I don't know. It's okay, but anyway. So um, Tony's coming in, and here we have a guy going, but I have to, and another one says, can't make quota without it. Isn't there something you can? He's like, what the? And Mr. Stark, my paycheck wasn't, and then the other guy simply must talk to you about, and then the other guy's I need. Miss Williams, I thought you were supposed to eliminate this clerical logjam. And Miss Williams says, but sir, I haven't been able to locate that party you requested. Then put an ad in the paper, send smoke signals, do something, he says. And then he feels bad. He says, I shouldn't yell at Miss Williams. She's doing the best. It's just that I've got so much writing on this architect deal. I'm kind of strung, kind of tight. He basically says how much Stark Enterprises means to him apart from his friends, especially since that space program fell apart. And if the Accutech doesn't work off, he could end up losing everything here. So later that night at Accutech, Abraham Zimmer is running a program and it's gonna show it to his boss in the morning, but something's happening to it, and he gets this message here: "He who speaks foolishly of ghosts may become one soon." And then, of course, he goes, "How did he know?" So the next morning here, and he's thinking this loan had better go through. So Tony's really explaining how strapped he is, yet you couldn't tell because the helicopter, all that kind of stuff. So I love it how they're telling you how poor he is, and at the same time how extravagant he is. So after building Stark Enterprises, I'm cash poor. I have to spend every penny of my personal fortune to buy Accutech, which means I've got to borrow to the limit of my credit just to keep SE going, Stark Enterprises. With the loan, I'll be able to make payrolls and interest payments for 3 months. But if the Accutech doesn't turn a profit by then, and then off panel, Mr. Stark. So I'm able to tell you that the loan has been approved and the transfer of the funds is already in progress. However, if you'll forgive a personal observation, this transaction seems to leave you straddling a rather precarious financial fence. Therefore, why don't I buy lunch? She says. So now Mr. Stark is going to finish the transactions. And so here these two security guards are kind of just talking, and this guy says, "Oh my goodness, the hard disk file is floating from the side of the lab to the other. Keep an eye on the monitor. I'll check the J lab," says that guy here. Again, some screen tones there. So in this panel, he's basically saying how, God, I hope I'm doing the right thing. I don't want to start all over again, yada, yada, yada. And then finally, just roll the dice. So the security guard goes, checks out, and then he's hit, and the other guy I don't know if it's the same guy, but anyway, presses the alarm, and he signs it, and he's like, the point of no return, and the alarm goes off, and he goes, "Mr. Connor, is there someplace private where I can make a phone call?" And so here we see the gentleman, the guard on the floor, and Iron Man has arrived. And he's looking through all the ultraviolet, infrared. He's going to switch to sonics like a radar. And again, the screen tones here, but then I don't know if you notice here, the little dots. He hears a second heartbeat coming from behind him, And of course, there's the ghost. And so you have succeeded where most have failed. You have indeed encountered the ghost. And Stark's like, he's real. But finding me is one thing, while catching me is quite another. And so there he goes, going through the wall. So Iron Man's going to go after him. He says he hates doing this, but I bet you he's going to go right through the wall. And he does. And the guy's like, oh my. And of course, this is probably that particle thing. So the ghost keeps going, and Tark keeps going through. And so the ghost is like, I wasn't counting on facing an Avenger, but I can't let him stop me now. I must destroy this company. And so he continues to show up, and Stark's using his sonar to try to, but he thinks he got him. Turns out it was a detonator. Again, look at the screen tones used here by Layton. It explodes. I love this one here. Someone's going to pay for this, but unless Casper has liability insurance, that someone's going to be me. So, all right. So he picked up his heartbeat, but he's losing it in the noise of all this automation here. He's going to shut down the machine so he can single it out. But the machines are reactivating. The ghost must be invisible. Follow me around, turning them back on. Maybe it's time to use sound against him. Send a sonic wave painful to unshielded ears then, and you can see him sending it, and he screams, of course. Here comes the security guards. And so he says, seize your assault, Avenger, unless you wish to kill us all. The bombs I've tossed at your rescuers is triggered by sound. And he says, all right, I've stopped. But the little light is still flashing. It's on a timer. And so, really, Iron Man? I used to be an executive myself, and after so many years with Stark, you should know as well as anyone that all executives lie. So Stark's gonna go jump on it when it blows up. Asks if everyone's alright. They say there's no casualty, but the ghost has vanished again. He tells everyone to turn off the machines. He uses his radar, but now because there's too many people in the room, he can't just sense the ghost. So he says this round goes to him. Mr. Zimmer says, please tell Mrs. Stark that I wasn't senile. So he says that he's not going to make this guy, that Mr. Stark's not going to make him retire, and that he'll have a place at Stark Enterprises. So the security guard here says, Iron Man, there's something printing on the monitor for you. And it says here, Iron Man, you hurt me, but you've won nothing. You cannot stop someone who can go anywhere, do anything, be anyone. Still, you must be punished, and in a very special way. So tell your employer, Anthony Stark, that he is a dead man, the ghost. And then the screen erases. All right, so Iron Man 219. I don't know if you noticed, but the credits were not in this issue, but David Michelinie and Bob Layton plotted it together. Michelinie, whatever, did the script, and then Bob Layton did both pencils and inks. So, like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.